Hello there. My name is Maureen with my co-host Corey. We are The Real Guys, and this is The Real Show with 2 E's. Today we'll be rounding off our coverage. I suppose you could use the word coverage.
Correct.
Our coverage of the most recent Star Wars Disney Plus show, Obi Wan Kenobi. As always, I'm accompanied by my co-host Corey. How are you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing grand, Murray.
Hello there.
I'm
I
doing
suppose
grand.
you could say.
Correct.
So,
I would answer you, but no one replies in this series, so...
oh, right, okay. Well, we could say hello there. You could respond, General Kenobi, perhaps. You are a bold one. But what we're going to be covering today is we're going to be taking a creative approach to the rest of the series. We, of course, covered the first episode.
We did.
If you'd like to go and listen to that again, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Real Show. It's steaming in popularity recently. You could go and watch our first episode review of the first episode of Obi Wan Kenobi.
Correct.
But for now, we will continue on the rest of the series. That's 6 episodes in total, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
And
yep.
Corey, as studious as he is, has got a full review or a full note series on the actual series itself.
Yeah, I have.
Did you take any for the first episode or no?
I've got 6 pages of notes, including the first episode.
Wow, that's fantastic. So we're gonna jump right into it. If you will allow me to give you a quick sort of commendation here, I have. If you actually watch our review of Part 1 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, watch our review of Chapter 1 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi story of the series on our YouTube channel. The first and only comment is a chap called Paul Bruin. Shout out to you, Paul Bruin. He says, complete garbage. So there you go. That's a great recommendation, I think. I don't know whether he's calling us complete garbage or whether he's calling the series complete garbage, but that's your opinion to make, I think, ladies and gentlemen.
I hope it's for show.
Right. Well, hope it's the show and not us. I've got some very stern words for you, Paul Bruin, wherever you are. That's right. I'm calling you out. I'm coming for you. Get ready. Right. Back to the series.
Yes.
And this is the much highly anticipated series, the solo series. We initially thought it would be a film, didn't we? They thought there would be a film coming out about Obi-Wan, but then it was sort of scaled back to I think because 2020 rolled around, and it was scaled back to a series. So
Correct.
More chances for more expansive stories, I feel.
It's TV / mini series is kind of has that. It is allowed you. It's just more time because it's like 6 hours worth of stuff essentially.
Yes, and we love diving into Star Wars here at The Real Show. We love getting our feet and faces deep in the beautiful world of Star Wars. So, Corey, hit us off strong.
Okay, what do you want?
Whatever. Let's start with the events. Let's start with the events of the series.
Wait, so we go back into episode 1?
We're going to go back into episode 2.
Okay, so we're going to start with episode 2.
We can start with episode 2 because we covered episode 1. Episode 2. Wow, he's slapping his notepad, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yes, episode 2. It's been so long since I've seen this.
He's ready. Yeah.
Daiyu.
We're taken to the city planet of Daiyu.
Which looks incredible.
It looks incredible, yeah, like a Hong Kong, takes inspiration from the Hong Kong Chinese cities. I was watching a video by Star Wars Explained. Shout out to you, Star Wars Explained, the YouTuber, who reads the sign, the Arabesh, the signs in Arabesh, sort of glow up signs, and he reads them, and one of them just says Wampa. Whether they're selling Wampa meat or there's a Wampa that's working at that shop, I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
But yeah, there's all kinds of signage, and it's nice to know this actually written out in words, so you can translate. There's a theory that everyone in Star Wars is illiterate because no one can read Arabesh, which is funny. Oh, no one can read English. No one can read English because what's called Galactic Basic in the Star Wars galaxy. English is called Basic, but no one can read that because they're all reading Arabesh. So you didn't mention the Arabesh signs, did you?
No.
Okay.
Did not.
Well, there's loads of city Arabesh signs. The girl that actually approaches... There's trivia here.
I know this.
You know this. The girl that approaches Obi-Wan Kenobi and offers him varieties of spice is who?
It's Ewan McGregor's daughter.
Yes, indeed. It's Ewan McGregor's actual daughter.
Which now means, because wasn't Ewan's dad or uncle or something?
His uncle is Dennis Lawson,
who
played Wedge Antilles in 4, 5 and 6.
Yes.
So
there's 3 generations of the McGregor family.
Of the McGregor family,
in Star Wars.
Ewan's mum's brother, Dennis Lawson, his uncle played Wedge Antilles in A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and in Rise of Skywalker. It's a cameo in there, if you remember, at the Guns of the Falcon. So there you go. And we also have other characters returning from episode 1, like the Inquisitors. They're back It's Rupert Friend as the Grand Inquisitor who. Now I mentioned in the first review of our first episode. I said that something happens to the Grand Inquisitor that I didn't want to give away.
Yeah.
And it was because that he gets stabbed.
Yeah, he's gone.
Spoilers, everybody. Spoilers, obviously, for Obi Wan Kenobi. I think we should have already prefaced it.
Yes.
This review by saying that there will be spoilers going ahead. But one thing I'd like to mention is when he was stabbed, there was uproar.
Yeah.
It was like Orn Fritar. Do you want to explain Orn Fritar to you?
Go for it.
If you watched The Bad Batch, we reviewed
it,
didn't we?
We've covered it, yes.
We watched The Bad Batch. And then the Ryloth senator, the Twi'lek senator on Fritar.
Oh, yeah.
Fat,
yes.
Head, big blue tentacles.
I think you explained this in the episode.
Big blue man. Yeah, I do, I think. Gets shot in the head by Crosshair and is assumed... Because obviously when you're shot in the head, you're not coming back from that.
Yeah, you're gone.
So, shot in the head shot, and he's down, he's dead, right? And everyone goes, what? But he's alive in this book 5 years later.
Yeah.
He's alive in Lords of the Sith, which takes place on Ryloth, and he's alive in that. So everyone's like, what? He's not... Is he dead? Is he dead? You know? And then there's a line in immediately the next episode that says it was an attempted assassination. So and Admiral Rampart says that Orn Fritar is injured, but he's expected to make a full recovery. And I was like, God, his head's thick.
Yeah.
If he survived a shot, and people saying, maybe it was a low power blaster bolt, not because you can change the settings.
Yeah.
They've got stun bolts. So, stun bolt is the most non-lethal, up to full blaster power, which is the most lethal. Maybe it was a mid-range, like a stun bolt that didn't kill him, just kind of knocked him out.
Yes.
But I imagine getting tasered in the head isn't very nice either.
It doesn't sound fun.
No. If someone's got a stun gun, I imagine that's still going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So... But that was just the Orn Fritar people. And then someone says, to think of the director of the show, maybe it was Brad Rao, I don't know, said on Twitter that he's never had so many concerned messages about Orn Fritar, famous Star Wars character Orn Fritar in his life.
Yeah.
He's never had so many concerned messages about him. So, I've never had so many concerned videos and posts about the Grand Inquisitor, saying, is the Grand Inquisitor alive? Is the Grand Inquisitor dead?
So,
he's been stabbed?
So, right, I was telling you before, I was looking for a tweet, and I still can't find it. Someone tweeted, and it was someone who worked on the show, or maybe a writer or something, was like, I'm not going to reveal if the Grand Inquisitor is alive or not. And everyone's like, he is, because he's in Rebels. He is alive.
Which takes place 5 years later.
Obviously, what he probably meant is, I'm not going to reveal if you're going to see him again.
Yeah,
But it's no, he is alive. We know he's alive. And, because I had this in my notes, that he gets killed off. And I had mixed thoughts about this. Because I thought, okay.
He's in Rebels. He can't. I was firm of the belief that he cannot be killed off.
Yes.
Because he is in Rebels, which is an animated series which takes place 5 years after the events of Kenobi.
Correct.
And he dies in that.
Yes.
So he cannot die here. It's impossible unless Darth Vader has gone out of his way to get another Powan Grand Inquisitor of the same species and the same guy in the same uniform. It's like he's just cloned him or whatever. Is he a clone? Is he I don't know.
My issue isn't the fact that they wanted to maybe do a swerve and go, right, we're going to make Reva the main villain. It's the fact that you could have had him injured or impaired and not have it look... Because obviously people come back, like Darth Maul's come back, Palpatine came back, but you also don't see them. They disappear and
Darth Maul got cut in half.
Yeah. And obviously people go, but if you've got anger and revenge, you can survive. Yeah, but it keeps you alive.
No one thought of that, really, which is funny.
Because that's why Maul survived.
Maul survived for 17 years.
Yeah.
On pure hatred for Obi Wan Kenobi. He managed to survive for 17 years at the bottom of that pit, or whatever, in the junk planet of Lotho Minor,
I think if you were going to do it, just don't... There's other ways to do it. Because also, I think my issue was you're looking at the trailers and stuff, and it's him. You think he's the villain. You go, yes, he's here. Look at this.
You mentioned in episode 1 that Grand Inquisitor was more of a villain than Reva does.
Yes. Because he was... I prefer the person who's saying what he does, and you're waiting for him in anticipation to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas Reva's I'm just going to cut someone's hand off.
Impulsive, very angry, very aggressive kind of...
I also said that I'd be completely fine... I said this to you after the show. I'd be completely fine if the Grand Inquisitor comes back and goes on a rampage and absolutely murders everyone. Unfortunately, that either does not happen.
No, it does not happen, but we do get the Grand Inquisitor back.
He does return,
He does turn up in episode 5, the end of episode 5.
Yes, he does.
Because Vader instills Reva as the Grand Inquisitor.
Yes.
And we don't know what happened. We're not sure. And Vader says, the Grand Inquisitor means nothing. It is Kenobi that is all that matters now.
Yeah.
And so we don't really know. There's no really other mention for him for 2 episodes. And then episode 5, he just walks back on the scene. He's got just hello.
The whole like Grand Inquisitor thing seemed a bit weird, and the fact that she gets it, but also like the fifth brother wants it and he's next in line, but they both mess up and she still gets it. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I think she gets it because she manages to track down Kenobi to.
I also assume that
Jabin.
Yeah, I also assume that, I mean, we don't know if maybe the Grand Inquisitor was in contact with Vader beforehand and then Vader gave it to her as a trick anyway.
As a trick, yeah, probably. Well, I can imagine Vader doing that.
It would make sense.
Hey, you're Grand Inquisitor, you alright? Okay, cool, I'm just going to instill this other person just to mess with them for a bit. So I saw someone put one of those, the Impractical Jokers kind of meme where...
Oh, is it the
three guys are in the desk and they say, hey, make her the Grand Inquisitor. And Vader goes, you rise, Grand Inquisitor, and then they're all laughing. And it's the Grand Inquisitor, fifth brother and fourth sister, all laughing. So if we do get more than those, we do fifth brother, Sun Kang.
Correct.
That's only in a few episodes. Very
I was gonna say
limited. Like, he has a lot of screen time in the first and second one, but then he sort of doesn't appear for the rest of them.
It's weird because you're going through in the first episode and second episode, you see that him and Reva don't get along.
He's treated like a big deal, sort of.
And it's like, oh, he's like telling her she's too harsh.
There's
and
not
she's
really a climax to
exactly,
that.
Nothing happens between them.
In the Fortress Inquisitoris, they just kind of bicker. And the last thing you see of him is him when Vader sort of storms in very angrily, and you get that, and he sort of backs off. But that's all you get, really. Yeah. Nothing else of him. He's going to be in Rebels and eventually killed by Darth Maul.
Yes.
You know. And then we get the fourth sister who doesn't do anything or say anything.
No.
We can assume she's a Nautolan, which is what the Kit Fisto species is. And she's got sort of yellow and reddish sort of patterning, and she has the little head tails and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is an Inquisitor called the Fourth Sister who appears in the comic, but she's shown with a helmet on, so we don't know whether it is actually her or not.
Oh, okay.
Or whether she gets replaced or something. But anyway, that very minor role there.
Yes.
And the biggest role of the Inquisitors is given to Reva.
Correct.
Who's played by Moses Ingram.
Yes.
Who's I'm not going to say she does a bad job. She does a very good job with the material. People drew comparisons to sort of episode 2 Anakin. Sort of Anakin's sort of impulsiveness and his... the way he sort of lashes out is the same way that she does. And puts them in the same position because, of course, she has that backstory with Anakin. It's revealed that she was sort of... she was at the Jedi Temple for 66.
She was at the Jedi Temple and saw Anakin and then survived somehow. Because we don't even see her fleeing. We just kind of see Anakin, and then presumably he slashes, and presumably, but then also she's alive still.
Well, maybe she's just injured. I assumed that she played dead. When she
I
was
think she
story.
did, because I think she says that she had to lie with people
the
she
bodies,
knew.
Yeah. And so I assume Anakin was just going around killing fools, and she's like, I don't want any part of this.
Because but also Darth just said, he's like, did you think I wouldn't notice or something?
Yeah.
Which makes it sound like he knew that she was alive, but he kept her alive anyway.
Her alive, yeah. And then she sort of turned up with the Inquisitors, and he's like, hold on, aren't you that kid that was playing dead?
Yeah.
I see you. And then he got her back.
Yeah.
In that great duel. So, and again, I feel like one thing I appreciate is they've handled Vader really, really well in the new canon.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do much, very, very minimalist.
Correct.
But when he does, it's like, this man is a beast, and this man is going to destroy everything.
I have a question.
Far away.
So, I think it was episode 4, maybe, when Vader and Obi-Wan first kind of encounter, like when Leia's going down that tunnel and Obi-Wan knows that Vader's there.
It's episode 3, the end of episode 3.
And Obi-Wan's which also to mention one slight nuisance. I don't know if you picked up on it or not. Obi-Wan draws a lightsaber for the first time, and has it out, and then undraws it, and then like 2 seconds later redraws it again to fight Vader.
Well, I feel like it was just a twitch. I feel like that's natural. It's just a twitch thing.
Yeah, but it's like it's the first time he's drawing it.
Yeah, but it shouldn't. I don't think it should feel epic in that way. I have a completely different view. I don't think it should feel epic. I feel like it should feel like this is a man who hasn't been in the fight for like 10 years, and he's facing his apprentice who hates him. Who wants to destroy him and burn him and everything? And he's in this sort of armored suit, and it's very intimidating. And Obi-Wan is like, he's on a dime. He's like, he doesn't know. He's been detached from the Force the same way Luke was in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
He's been detached from the Force for 10 years, and he doesn't even know if he has that strength in him again. So obviously, when he pulls out the lightsaber, it's not like he's whipping it out in a great epic gesture of I will face you down, Darth Vader. He's scared. It's fear reaction. He's like, whoa! He doesn't know where his where it's gonna come from.
One thing I will say, obviously we get the encounter of Vader and Obi-Wan, and they have a duel, and Vader's like using one hand and being very much striking him down. First off, I did not know how I felt about Vader and Obi-Wan meeting for the first time
Before episode
here.
4.
But also, one thing that I kind of wasn't sure about, visually, it was cool when Obi-Wan gets his arm burned. Because you're like, okay, this is what Anakin felt on Mustafar in the lava. He's drawing a comparison there. Cool, that's great. And then throughout all the other, because obviously we see him in the back to tank, and he leaves the tank, and I forgot her name, the woman with a holster with the ticks on it.
Tyler.
Thank you. She's like, you're not fully healed yet, and he leaves anyway. Yeah. But like, they never mention it again that he's got a burned arm that's not fully healed yet. And I'm like, he's just been burned. I know he's nearly healed, but it's still a little bit of like movement issues or something. I don't know. I liked it when they first met, but also I'm like, do we need to do it? I don't know. I'm half and half.
They redeemed it in the finale, most definitely.
Yeah.
But that initial meeting did seem a bit. Most people just took it as a starter to the main meal, which was in the finale.
Yeah.
So it was just getting things started between them. I mean, Vader's arrival, of course, in episode 3 was
correct.
Fantastic, because he just strolls onto the street and he's force choking everybody to draw Obi-Wan out.
I like the fact that in that scene, obviously, you get Reva and the fifth brother who are kind of checking out the place.
They're hanging back.
But Vader just knows where he just walks. He just knows where
Vader
he is.
knows directly where he is. He's coming in immediately.
He just walks off. He's like, I know, I'm off.
Debate about it, exactly. And that's what Vader's been like in canon recently. As I said, they've really made Vader this sort of new intimidating monster. And I quite like that. In Fallen Order, if you've played Fallen Order, you don't even fight Vader.
No, you don't. You run away.
You run from Vader.
You run away.
You can't even fight him.
In fact, your his second sister, who's you're facing in Fallen Order, just gets chopped down.
Killed by Vader. Well, people assume that's what would happen to. Well, it did happen to Reva here.
Yes.
People assume that Vader would be the one to, second sister as well. Because what happens in Fallen Order? He goes, "You have failed me, Inquisitor," and then he just slashes her across, and that's it. And then people thought the same thing was happening here. It was similar, but no. Again, talk about comparisons to Fallen Order. We do get Fortress Inquisitorius on Nern.
Correct.
Which is the water moon of Mustafar in the Mustafar system. And of course, we get Vader's castle many times. We see it when Vader is suiting up, and we also see it at the end of the series.
Yes.
So, I love that location. It looks great. It's the design. There's two amazing things behind the design of Vader's castle.
Yeah.
It's obviously called Fortress Vader. It's a Lego set if you've got it. I have. It was an Amazon exclusive.
Nice.
But I do have Fortress Vader. So, and it was designed to look like a tuning fork for the dark side. That's what Gareth Edwards imagined it would look like. And it was also based off concept art for The Force Awakens they had, of like a sort of Vader-themed fortress. And it was also based off early designs for Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, where the Emperor would have like a lava layer instead of a layer on the second Death Star, where it's sort of his sort of grand opus chamber. No, it had in Episode 6 it was designed to be like a lava sort of underground layer below Imperial City on Coruscant.
Yes.
But no, it was changed in Rogue One to be more of a sort of a spire fortress type thing, to look like a tuning fork for the dark side, where he'd attune, and it's actually in the same place that he was burned and scarred, so it's kept the memory for him. That dark memory is kept there on Fortress Vader.
Yes. So. We mentioned her before, and I'm going to mention her again. So, episode 3, which I'm going to go into for a little bit. Now, I watched episode 3. I watched episode 3, 4, 5 straight away. So I knew that episode 3 was, people were like, this isn't good. And they were like, this is bad. This is kind of when the turning point of this series isn't great.
Contention. Episode 1 and 2 were strong. Episode 3 had its moments, not many of the good moments, but I feel like the slog was a bit apparent.
Episode 3 is where there's a couple times this happens in other episodes as well. There's a part where there's some things where you're sitting there thinking that doesn't make sense. There's a part where they meet Freck, right, and they're getting a ride with Freck.
Yes, the
man,
the driver.
Yeah. And on come these stormtroopers, right? And these stormtroopers are like, "Oh, we're looking for a Jedi." And they're telling Freck, "We're looking for a Jedi." And Freck goes, "Oh, I'm with the Empire or whatever."
Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan and Leia are just sat on the back of his truck with Freck in the front, talking about how Obi-Wan's a Jedi. I'm like, you guys just told everyone he's with the Empire. Why are you talking about the fact you're a Jedi next to him?
Leia was talking about it.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and the stormtroopers kind of stop him and go, "Hold on."
Well, it's after that bit. It's when the stormtrooper's gone.
Oh.
And they're having a conversation about how Obi-Wan's this Jedi. And why are you having that conversation? He's right there.
With Freck in the front seat. Well, Freck does even say, "Hey, I picked up a couple of
he does.
Couple of guys. You want to check them out?" And the stormtroopers are like, "All right, thank you, Freck."
And then they get rescued.
And they get rescued, and Obi-Wan takes them all down, and then Tala comes in.
There's a couple times where that happens because a bit where Tala's she's in the uniform and she's guiding Obi-Wan.
Imperial, yeah.
And there's like all these people around her. She's telling Obi-Wan like, "Where are you?" And it's a security droid. And there's this guy sitting next to him like, "Can't I hear you?" Obviously talking.
In Fortress Inquisitorius, she goes to like this. You know when you go to like a library?
Yeah.
And there's that bit in the library where there's like loads of computers. She goes to like the library computer room of Fortress Inquisitorius, and sits there and does a little thing. Also, I like the continuity, as we know in Star Wars, for the way things look, for the way things act, for what things do. It's kept up really, really well. Like, on their Imperial officer uniform, she has those little cylinders.
Yeah.
People literally didn't know what they were, but in Rebels they explain their code cylinders. So they have like your clearance on and stuff like that. They're like swipe cards.
Yes.
So what she does is she plugs it into the computer and it accesses stuff that she can access. And different officers have like two, like a low-ranking officer might have one or two code cylinders, and like where Grand Moff Tarkin, I almost said Graf Moff Tarkin, where Grand Moff Tarkin has like four, so he's got a lot of code cylinders.
Yeah.
So it depends how many you have, your kind of your rank and stuff like that. So, but what we have with Tala is another Imperial defector, which we have quite a few of currently in canon, along with sort of Iden Versio and other prominent Imperial defectors. And she's a good character. It's her and the droid, which is called Ned, I want to say.
Yeah, I haven't written his name down. I like that droid.
Do you?
Good droid.
He's a binary load lifter.
Correct.
Which is meant.
He's also got a hammer.
He has a hammer. He has a commando droid gun.
Yeah.
He has a separatist E5 blaster rifle, which is what the battle droids and the commando droids use, which is nice to see.
As soon as that droid came on, and like you see him like put his hand behind his back and grab the hammer, and like at some point he's whipping that out and he's bashing people.
He's called Ned. He's called Ned B.
There
you go. Name.
Yeah, I liked him. It was good.
He can't speak.
No, he can't.
Yeah, he's a loader droid.
Yes.
There we go. So that's what C-3PO used to program. Maybe these are the droids that C-3PO used to program.
Possibly.
So speaking of C-3PO. Not only do we get C-3PO, we get Alderaan.
Yes, we do.
We get Jimmy Smits.
Correct.
As Senator Bail Organa. We get Breha Organa as well. We get young Leia.
Correct.
Little Leia, who, by the way, amazing. What a young actress. Absolutely amazing. Vivian Lyra Blair, shout out to you for really capturing not only Carrie's essence, but the essence of the character of Leia as well. Again, there's a part in the first episode I think I talked about where she's sort of dressing down her cousin by saying, "Oh, she says something like, "Oh, I'm not going to talk to someone like you because you're like not much of an Organa."
Yeah.
And he says to her, and she comes back with a really clever sort of comeback, and I'm like, that's something that Carrie's Leia would have said, and I really like that. So.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think overall, as far as anyone in this series goes. Obviously, we didn't expect her to be in it, but Stan, especially because also she's young. It's really hard to get a child actor who is really good, that good. That good,
yeah. I got sort of shades of kind of Millie Bobby Brown, kind of.
Yeah.
As well, sort of young, sort of 11, kind of. The fact that she's that young, but she's really good at capturing the feeling of the scene, of working with Ewan.
Yeah.
And to embody that character, because it can't be an easy job.
No.
Bless her, for someone so young, and. If there's anyone that I want to come out of this series looking good, it's her.
Yes.
But speaking of what happens to her, she of course is using this big plot by Reva to sort of draw out Kenobi by using Bail Organa as Kenobi's friend, so get Bail's daughter and obviously not his actual daughter, but his adopted daughter, and take her away so that Kenobi will follow, right? And she's kidnapped by Flea.
Correct.
Who actually his character does have a name.
Oh yeah.
I don't know whether I'll tell you. His name's Vect Noctru.
Okay.
So there you go. There's Flea's character. I was just happy calling him Flea.
Yeah.
So he gets captured by Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers and taken to Dayu. And from Dayu, we then head to Mapuzo, which is the mining planet. And from Mapuzo, we go to Jabin. There's a lot of cool a lot of nice, impressive little planet names we've got here. Very impressive indeed. Then from Jabin, it's Jabim. It's not Jabin. I thought it was Jabin with an N. It's Jabin with an M.
Oh.
Mapuzo and Jabim. We do get Coruscant,
We
however, which is nice to see. We haven't seen Coruscant we haven't seen the Coruscant City for some time. We'd seen the inside of the Jedi Temple, obviously, in Book of Boba Fett. We saw the Order 66 flashbacks and whatnot, but it's nice to see the Coruscant City. On Coruscant in Part 5, where we see a young Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, dueling, sparring with, if you will, with Obi Wan Kenobi as well. In his Episode 2, Jedi garb, and Anakin's not got his robot hand. He's young. I feel like they could have de-aged him. I don't know if they had technology at the time, but they could have happily de-aged him. He did look a bit tired.
It did a little bit.
Yeah.
To be fair, obviously we've added like rap and stuff like that with Anakin and Obi-Wan's connection.
Yes.
Where kind of like look back in the past to kind of from this whole thing. I like that because obviously there's the whole part in this where like Obi-Wan's like your aggression is your downfall, because Obi-Wan like loses his lightsaber but manages to take Anakin's lightsaber instead. I like this because when you have that confrontation with Reva and Darth Vader, it's almost the opposite. Because Darth Vader's now being really slow and being really careful.
Yeah.
And Reva's trying to take him down, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's mirroring the whole image of Darth now, always like, okay, I'm going to do what Obi-Wan did. I'm just going to be patient, take your weapons off of you, and
let you attack me, which is what happens. Because Anakin is, he's fighting very strongly, using his strength. You're going to try and overpower him, but Obi-Wan's like sort of the quicker.
Yeah.
He's dodging, he's ducking, he's blocking. And that's what Vader was doing when Reva was trying to kill him. She gets replaced or something, but anyway, that very minor role there.
Yes.
And the biggest role of the Inquisitors is given to Reva.
Correct.
Who's played by Moses Ingram.
Yes.
Who's I'm not going to say she does a bad job. She does a very good job with the material. People drew comparisons to sort of Episode 2 Anakin. Anakin's sort of impulsiveness and the way he sort of lashes out is the same way that she does, and puts them in the same position because, of course, she has that backstory with Anakin. It's revealed that she was at the Jedi Temple for Order 66.
She was at the Jedi Temple and saw Anakin and then survived somehow. Because we don't even see her fleeing. We just kind of see Anakin, and then presumably he slashes, and presumably, but then also she's alive still.
Well, maybe she's just injured. I assumed that she played dead. When she
I
was
think she
story.
did, because I think she says that she had to lie with people she knew.
Yeah. And so I assume Anakin was just going around killing fools, and she's like, I don't want any part of this.
Because also Darth just said, he's like, did you think I wouldn't notice or something?
Yeah.
Which makes it sound like he knew that she was alive, but he kept her alive anyway.
He kept her alive, yeah. And then she sort of turned up with the Inquisitors, and he's like, hold on, aren't you that kid that was playing dead?
Yeah.
I see you. And then he, got her back in that great duel. So, and again, I feel like one thing I appreciate is they've handled Vader really, really well in the new canon.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do much, very, very minimalist.
Correct.
But when he does, it's like this. Yeah.
And you're left with that, like, almost Darth Maul-esque Kenobi scream.
Yeah.
And
it's Obi-Wan, he doesn't say Kenobi.
No,
he says Obi-Wan, but it's very similar to the Darth Maul moment in Twin Sons where Maul screams the same thing. Yes, the original actor for Vader, Sebastian Shaw is his name, who played Vader in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, when Luke finally removes the helmet.
Yeah.
And he gets that injury. He gets, as you see, if you look at images of Sebastian Shaw as Vader in Return of the Jedi, he has that sort of cut on his, I'm looking at a picture now, he has that sort of cut on the top of his head, which we assumed was from Mustafar. No, that's the injury that he gets in this fight in Part 6 of the show. That's where he gets the injury.
I also like the comparison to the later films as well, because Obi-Wan, Vader's like, I did not kill so you did not kill Anakin, I did, and then Obi-Wan's like, when my friend is truly dead, and I think Luke says the same thing, or nearly the same, close enough.
I think Luke says that my father is truly dead.
Yeah,
that's what he says.
And it's like you get that connection again with both of them.
It's Kenobi's explanation to Luke in Episode 4 of who Vader is.
Yeah, well, because Kenobi doesn't tell him that.
No, he doesn't say, because I think original plans were to make Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker separate people.
Yeah.
But I think that was the plan in Episode 4, but they changed it in Episode 5 to make him his father. I don't think that was the plan all along. But in Episode 4, what Obi-Wan says to Luke is that there was a young Jedi named Darth Vader. He was a pupil of mine until he turned evil, helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. And then he says, he betrayed and murdered your father. That's the line.
Yes.
So that is what was taken here as Anakin says, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
I did, me, Darth Vader." And then the voice comes through. The James Earl Jones performance comes through, and more strongly than Hayden.
Yes.
But he's still there. But you hear them both in tandem. And then Obi-Wan says, "Then my friend is truly dead."
Yes.
And he calls him Darth.
He does.
Which
it's
he
the first
does
time.
in Episode 4. He does the same thing.
Yes.
He says, and Vader says, "Now I've become." Oh, sorry. He says, "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master."
Yeah.
And Kenobi says, "Only a master of evil, Darth." I love that line because of how corny it sounds. He goes, "Only a master of evil, Darth." I like that. But it's the fact that he says that title, and as Kenobi says it here.
Yeah, it's because it's the whole thing. Kenobi's been calling him Anakin all the time, and this is when he truly kind of goes, "Okay, you're not Anakin anymore. I can now face you, and I'm not afraid to do anything because you're not who I knew."
That's why Vader says, because Vader loses that fight.
He does.
So in Episode 4, when he actually mentions it, when I left you, I was the learner.
Yes.
And he could still be talking about Mustafar.
It still makes sense.
He could still be talking about any time. So.
Yeah.
And then Vader goes back, and we get two great cameos of the series. Sort of cameos. We see Emperor Sheev Palpatine,
correct,
as played by Ian McDiarmid, with the voice, with the hood, with the makeup, with the Sith eyes. "You are distressed, my friend. I wonder if your feelings on this are clear." Doubting him and putting that seed in his mind of. I feel like it was a question of his sort of motives, of Vader's motives. Like he says so as well. He says it. There's a great fan film by Star Wars Theory, YouTuber Star Wars Theory, about Vader and Palpatine, and they sort of have similar shades here, where Palpatine is like, you are agitated, Lord Vader. I wonder if you can be trusted on this matter, that kind of thing. And Vader's like, no, Kenobi is, because he thinks Kenobi, he has to sort of disregard him.
Yeah.
And even in Rebels, Vader says, Palpatine says that Ahsoka could lead them to other lost Jedi, and Vader says, such as Kenobi.
Yes.
And then Palpatine goes, perhaps if he lives. Like he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Like Palpatine has very little care for Obi-Wan. So, which of course he would do, because he's the Emperor and whatever.
Correct.
And it's said in a novel, in a certain point of view, which actually tells stories of sort of characters from Episode 4. There's a story that revolves around Palpatine when Vader says that, hey, I killed Obi-Wan, but when I killed him, he sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
And Palpatine was a bit frightened by that because he didn't know what that meant. He didn't know what that meant. He didn't know, if Obi-Wan had become more powerful than he could possibly imagine.
Yes.
By becoming one with the Force, right? And then after we get that wonderful Palpatine scene, which made me pop, I was like, yes, because we heard that Ian McDiarmid had done voice work or done work for something, and we assumed it was for the Bad Batch Season 2, because Palpatine's going to be in that as well.
Correct.
But we now know that he also did work for Kenobi, which is great to know. A little hologram of the Emperor there. I think that was the right scene to put Vader back on his path to Episode 4, or at least to Rogue One, right? And then we have Liam Neeson.
Correct.
Qui-Gon Jinn. Tell me you didn't pop for that.
Oh, I popped for Qui-Gon Jinn.
You were excited because I know you're a big Qui-Gon fan.
I'm a big Qui-Gon fan.
I know you're a big fan of Qui-Gon Jinn. Tell me your reaction. Last scene of the show. Tell me your reaction.
I was waiting for it. I thought
they teased it across the series. I didn't think they were going to do it. I had no idea. I'd stayed off Twitter all morning.
Yeah.
And I'd sat down on Wednesday to watch it, and I didn't know that. I didn't think they'd do it because they kept teasing it. They were like, Kenobi would turn to the shadows and go, "Oh, Master Qui-Gon, I need your guidance, Master. Where are you, Master Qui-Gon?" Because that's what Yoda said in Episode 3. He's going to teach him to commune with.
Yes.
The Force goes to Qui-Gon Jinn, but we never see it until now.
Yeah, I saw it. I thought, okay, good, because I thought you're going for the whole thing. Every single episode, essentially, he's asking for him, no reply, no response, nothing. And I think I said it in the first Obi-Wan thing, but I reckon what's going to happen is Qui-Gon would appear at the end when Obi-Wan doesn't need him anymore, because then Obi-Wan now knows what to do. Qui-Gon doesn't want to help him. He just wants to go, you've done it on your own now. Now you know what to do. Now we can move on. Which is essentially what happens. Qui-Gon goes, I was always here, but you could never see me.
Yes.
Or,
you were not ready to see, is what he says.
And he's just told him to keep walking, essentially. He's just like, come on, we've got more stuff to do. I liked it. I thought it was good. Some people, and I googled this, and I found the answer very quickly. So people can just Google stuff. It's great. People are like, this is breaking canon because Qui-Gon can't be a Force Ghost because he didn't complete his Force Ghost training. If you literally Google it, it says he completed it after he died.
Yeah.
It's like, good. There you go.
So there we go.
Because like, it's probably it's not the first time he's appeared as a Force Ghost, and literally says he's completed after he died.
No, he appeared in the Clone Wars. He appeared
Yes.
in the Mortis arc. We don't know whether the Mortis was just a figment of their imagination or whatever. But we did see a Force Ghost Qui-Gon in that, as well by Liam Neeson as well. So.
And it was just like, yeah, he just did it after he died.
Yeah, exactly. And they go, now he's a Force Ghost. He can do all that kind of thing. But Liam Neeson's, I thought you were going to say Liam Neeson's actual reason for doing it.
Oh, no.
He wasn't credited.
Oh, was he not?
He was uncredited.
Oh, okay.
I did look at the credits and see he was uncredited for the role. But I popped. It was great to see Liam Neeson back as Qui-Gon. He said before that he'd only ever do it for a film. So obviously he was talked around somehow.
Yeah.
But he told the Hollywood Reporter on his decision to return, he said, and I quote, I won't do an impression, he said, I certainly didn't want anyone else playing Qui-Gon Jinn, and I wanted to show my respect for George Lucas and that mythical world he created. Plus, Ewan McGregor is a real pal, and I loved working with him during The Phantom Menace 25 years ago.
Correct.
So there you go. Returning to the franchise is Liam Neeson, maybe just for that cameo, Qui-Gon Jinn, but it was the right thing to do, and it was the thing that really put the cap on the series.
There is, and I don't know if this is true, I don't know if it's something confirmed, there is rumours that Kenobi's getting a second series and that things had to change in the end. So maybe he'll be more Force Ghost in season 2.
See more of him later.
Potentially.
It was changed from a series to season.
Yeah,
so
it's almost like a Moon Knight thing.
Coming, yeah.
Where Moon Knight's like, no, it's one thing, and then at the end, stuff kept changing. Like, so maybe there's more.
So maybe we don't know. There's been rumours of sort of Asherod Het from Legends, which is sort of the Tusken Raider Jedi / Sith.
Yes.
I definitely don't want any more Leia. I feel like her series is done, really.
I think so, yeah.
I don't want any more Leia, any more of that.
It feels like if it is a second series, it's going to go more towards maybe Obi Wan and Luke. Because you see him meeting at the end. I know he says
Reva is let go, so Reva doesn't end up dying in this series. No. Like people would have thought she would have done.
I know Obi Wan says he's gonna stand his distance, but also it's Obi Wan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like he's not. he's still around.
So it could be possible. It could be. I hope it's Obi Wan sort of facing Luke's threat from afar, kind of how we did with Maul, where Maul turns up in Star Wars Rebels and he goes, "You're here protecting someone." And then that's when Obi-Wan gets the lightsaber out, and then it's duel time.
Yes.
You know, it's Obi-Wan protecting Luke from afar. Like I could easily see Asherod Het from Legends going back and sort of threatening Luke with his Tusken Raider attacks. And it's Obi-Wan that puts the foot down and steps in on Luke's behalf to defend him.
Yeah.
And I could see that happening very easily. So, as far as the finale goes,
correct.
Very strong indeed.
Yeah.
Everyone's hailing the finale as sort of the best episode of the series, and what we get definitely lives up to the reputation. But have we discussed giving the entire series a real rating?
I have an idea.
Right, okay. Did we cover all your notes, Corey? Was there anything more
I think
you'd like
that's
to
pretty much
mention?
Yeah, one thing I will mention, we mentioned this in the first episode when it came to this, is that obviously we know the fates of most of his characters. We know Obi-Wan doesn't die, we know Leia doesn't die, we know Luke doesn't die.
Vader doesn't die.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff in this of how do you create threats, and they did that because you had other people. Haja was around.
Yeah.
I really liked Haja. I don't know if there's any one person who did, but I really liked Haja.
What, Kumail Nanjiani? Yeah, we talked about Haja, who's the Jedi sort of imposter.
The droid dies, and it's Tali, isn't it?
Tala, yeah.
Yeah, she dies.
Tala and Ned, do perish in the battle.
One thing I didn't like is the fact that Haja drops Obi-Wan's communicator.
Yeah.
And then Reva picks it up, but I don't think she ever uses it.
What the hollow?
Yeah.
Was dropped.
Does she use it? Did I miss that, or did she just pick it up? I don't know if I saw her use it or not.
Who's communicator?
Because Obi-Wan gives it to Haja. He gives.
Yes.
When they pass the lightsaber, and then Haja drops it running onto the ship.
Yeah.
And then Reva picks it up. But I don't think it gets used.
I think doesn't it play the message from Bail Organa?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it might have done.
Because she's stabbed by Vader.
Yes.
Vader and the Grand Inquisitor leave, and she's sort of on the ground, sort of near death, and she turns the communicator on, and it's Bail Organa saying, the boy on Tatooine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does.
And then she goes, I must go to Tatooine to, he goes, we must protect the children, that kind of thing. So, and then that's when Reva turns up on Tatooine.
Yes.
We've not mentioned them, Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Piesse as Owen and Beru.
Correct.
Who might as well steal the finale, because
yeah.
Beru, I know Bonnie Piesse's done some things in her real life that she doesn't really act anymore now. But it was great to see her step back into the role as Beru. I feel like she's still the sort of Beru from A New Hope, and she did a great job in Attack of the Clones and a great job in this as well. Joel Edgerton, who's really expanded his career now, hasn't he, than he was in 2002, I want to say.
Yeah.
For Attack of the Clones, and they're great. And Deborah Chow said one of the things she really loved about this series is working with Joel Edgerton as Owen, because you really see why George Lucas cast him as this young Owen, because he really does it well. He's like, you're going to stay off my farm, Obi Wan Kenobi, like you trained his father. That's become a line now for people. Sort of Owen's remarks against Ben has been really great, and you see why. But I want to sort of know more of that divide. If we do season 2, I want more Owen and Beru.
Yes.
To know why sort of Owen hates him so much in A New Hope. Why he's like, oh, that wizard's just a crazy old man. You're going to stay off the Dune Sea, Luke.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And why Luke sort of describes Obi-Wan as this sort of old hermit who lives out in the desert.
Yeah, because at the end of Kenobi, they have a bit of a respect moment, because Obi-Wan says, you were right, I'll leave the boy or whatever, and then Owen's like, do you want to meet him? And then we see the hello there, then he's like with Luke and stuff. So presumably that's, if Obi-Wan does stay away, that's the only time they meet until they meet again.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't also seem like...
No, because it seems like Luke would remember that. Like, that old man that came up to me and said hello there once.
Yeah. But also at that point, Owen seems to be somewhat okay with him at that point.
Yeah, where in episode 4 he's not really. Episode 4 he's like, as you said, he calls him a crazy old man and says whatever. Well, that's because of the script of episode 4 was drastically changed when Alec Guinness came on board.
Yes.
And Alec Guinness said, I'm not playing this. Because Obi-Wan was initially sort of like a weird, crazy wizard kind of guy who was, quite kooky and quite off the ball. And then it was Alec Guinness who came in and said, no, I'm changing this because I'm Alec Guinness, one of the most respected British actors at the time. And I was in Dr. Zhivago, and I'm changing the dialogue. Because he said, there's a great interview by, I'm going to see if I can find it here.
Go for it.
Where Alec Guinness talks about his involvement in episodes. Here we go. Yeah, it's by, is that his name? Michael Parkinson? The talk show host. And Alec Guinness says that the he had to make some changes because he wanted Obi-Wan to be more of the sort of the wise sage character, rather than the sort of kooky crazy wizard. But however, some of the early dialogue is still the same, so it's still in the desert, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where Obi-Wan is more of the distinguished sort of yes, you must do what you feel is right, of course. That kind of thing. The more of the esteemed Kenobi. I'm gonna need yours first, please.
Mine's high,
right?
Because I think first two episodes are really good. Third is meh. Fourth one's not great either.
No.
And then fifth and sixth pick it back up.
Right.
I would go.
That's the majority good though.
I would go
6. That's 4 out of 6.
An 8 or an 8.5.
Right.
Maybe.
I'm gonna hit it with. I'd love to give it sort of. I know we only do an 8 point. I know we only do 0.5. We don't do other points. It's a 0.5.
We've done 0.75s before.
Have we?
Yeah, you have. I don't think I have, but you have.
I swear I've not given anything a 0.75.
You have right near the start.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I imagine our rating system fluctuates between 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And 10 being the highest.
Yes.
And you're allowed a 0.5.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I do a 0.75. I wouldn't do a 0.75 now.
Yeah.
We've kind of more solidified what our rating system is. I will give it a 9.
Okay.
If you're going to go 0.85.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5.
I'll give it a 9.
That makes sense.
It's not going to get that 9.5.
No.
I'm sorry. It's not that. It doesn't blow me away that much. But it can be great. It can be great moments. It can be real good stuff to see in live action, like the Grand Inquisitor, the Fifth Brother, and Fort Inquisitorius, and all that kind of thing. It still keeps in line with the Star Wars canon. I feel like a second season would be cool to see more of an expanse on, the breakup between Owen and Obi-Wan. More action on. I shouldn't be really asking for more action on Tatooine.
No.
We've had flipping 2000 action scenes on Tatooine.
I mean,
hello, Book of Boba Fett. How you doing?
There could also be because there's a new Fallen Order coming out that's set at the same time this is.
Yeah.
So there could be maybe a Cal Kestis
in
cameo,
season 2. I'd
possibly.
like to see that. It'd be nice to see more of Obi-Wan whipping out the lightsaber.
True.
Well, I'd love to see Asteroid Het if he manages to get him in canon. I'd like that as well. Strangely, because they're on Tatooine. We got Jawas. We didn't get Tusken Raiders.
True.
Be nice to see some Tusken Raiders, apart from just a mention by Owen. Nice to see some Tusken Raiders on Tatooine, perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, Asteroid Het is a big Tusken sort of villain, so nice to see him turn up in season 2 as well. I don't think we'll get any more again, because I know they sort of planned more for the film, but never happened, probably because of Rebels, and it sort of directly contradicts the fact that Obi-Wan does kill Maul on Tatooine in Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
I'm so glad that was made, because I don't want Maul ham-fisted into anything anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of just do it where it's natural, like with Crimson Dawn in Solo, that kind of thing, where you can sort of build on it. Tell how does he get to this point where they find him on Malachor in the finale of Rebel Season 2. But I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay.
Shout out to Deborah Chow for the great direction across the series. One last thing.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Joby Harold?
No.
As a writer, teleplay writer?
Nope.
No. Well, he wrote this.
Okay.
One of his other credits is one of our favourite films here at The Real Show.
Oh God.
It's, I'm going to say, don't you? Joby Harold's also credited for Army of the Dead.
Yeah. Great.
Just saying. Just gonna throw that out there. All right. Either someone helped him, or he managed to pick up some kind of skill over the past few years of writing. Because I don't think Army of the Dead, not our favourite.
It wasn't great.
Not our favourite film. Let's call it that. He's also currently credited for writing the Flash film in 2023, which probably isn't going to come out because we found out that Ezra Miller isn't actually that great of a person. And Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, which is the Beast Formers, with Ron Perlman.
I feel like he's just going right back down again.
The Beast Wars, writing the Beast Wars film. Hey, I'm looking forward to the Beast Wars Transformers film. Hey, the Flash maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But apparently he also wrote the King Arthur Legend of the Sword.
Great.
Guy Ritchie outlet. So a great writing credits.
Yep.
Great writing credits there. I just wanted to just a little nugget there at the end.
Correct.
What was that tweet you were going to say? Because before we started recording,
it was a tweet of a guy saying that he's not going to reveal it for Chronic Quizzes.
Oh
live
right, okay.
I was like, we know he is. Don't.
Of course not. And I don't know why
mystic.
Jason Isaacs didn't step back into the role. But
yeah, true.
Maybe we'll find that out.
True.
But who knows? But we hope you enjoyed our review of Obi Wan Kenobi. We'll come to you next week with more, I think, Marvel perhaps. Something else, bit of Marvel, bit of Disney Plus, we don't know. But whatever happens, we'll be happy for it. So may the Force be with you, and it's goodbye from me, goodbye, and a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.